How we doing? Guess I'll get a mic check real quick before I say too much. Horns up in the chat for the audio. Check, check, check. Test, test. Mic. Oh, well, that's part of the problem. Here we go. Check, check, check. We all good?
All right, all right, all right.
Sounds good to me. Looks like everything's clear on my side. We will get rolling here. All right. Party Card Sports says horns up. Good deal, brother. Appreciate that. So, this is a safe space, y'all. Let's talk. I just wanted to get on the same page with people because it was brought to my attention. It's laggy. Shouldn't be laggy. But if it continues, let me know. Thanks for chiming in there, TJ. Appreciate that, man. So he says it's laggy, it's murky like the Cowboys' future. So it was always going to be a stretch, right? No one here predicted that the Cowboys were going to be spending in the first wave of free agency. I know that's what we always want, and that's what we're going to get to in just a second, Art. A lot of people feel the same way that he does. What was the point of doing these restructures if we're not going to do anything with it? So that's precisely the point. Okay, today was Monday. This is wave one of free agency. We or at least I thought I did a good enough job of covering and being adamant that they weren't just all of a sudden going to unload the clip and empty the clip at the top of the market. Okay, but what I did say was that they will be spending and they will be adding players simply because they have to. They have no other choice. Okay. Now let's address the title of the video. The Cowboys got worse today. How'd they get worse? They got worse because Jourdan Lewis left the building. 3 years, $30 million, $10 million APY. That's a significant deal, guys. And that's what I want to spend the bulk of this conversation emphasizing, okay? Jourdan Lewis is now the highest paid nickel corner in the league. Now, that does not mean that he's the best nickel corner in the league, okay? Because certainly, if there's any measuring stick, it's not necessarily the Jacksonville Jaguars order of business either. Okay, they're not the North Star of team building. Okay, that's not what I'm saying either. But what I'm saying is that I don't know if enough people appreciate who Jourdan Lewis was in the locker room and on the field for this Cowboys team. And I don't know if enough people appreciate just how difficult it is to do his job and how hard guys like him are to find. Okay, now let me elaborate for a second on why. And TJ, give me another update too if it's still lagging on my side of things. If anybody else wants to chime in, please do. We're helping each other out here. 1/10 of 1% every day. 1% better. But so the point is, nickel corners, where are they lined up? They line up in a slot. Okay, so why is that relevant? Well, because corners have a reputation, right? Their job is difficult enough as it is, especially with the way that the rules have this thing set up. It favors the offense. Okay, point production. The league wants points. So what is happening, man? Phone's blowing up. So these nickel corners, right? And I wrote about this today on cowboyscountry.com. Everything is structured and detailed and in order. Nickel corners, they have to deal with traffic. They have to aid and run support, be physical in the box. They have to be athletic enough to flip their hips both directions. Okay? Outside corners at least have the advantage of knowing that there's at least that extra defender, that sideline. The boundary is an added defender. It's help. They know that there's only so much ground that they can give up to one side. Okay, so nickel corners, they're dodging traffic because a lot of times, right? Look, the Cowboys are a classic example of this. They're not the best example by any stretch, but they utilize CeeDee Lamb. So defenses today, right? They're more and more often putting their best playmakers in the slot. So they're matchup hunting, trying to see if they can get them isolated on a linebacker or even a safety in some cases, right? But the purpose of having, or why there is a specific difference between your skill set, right, of certain guys who can't play outside and certain guys who can't. So it's a size and a physicality thing. Okay, so in the slot, you're tasked with, like, the nickel corner. You can't get hands on him. You can't feel the receiver lined up across from you. Okay, so it's creating free releases. So not only are teams putting their best players in many cases, are using them as the gadget, as the motion man. CeeDee Lamb is very frequently the motion man and very frequently starts the play from the slot area of the field. Okay, he's versatile. He does a little bit of everything. But that's been the way that modern offense has evolved. And that's the evolution. Okay. So Jourdan Lewis, he's got to deal with traffic. He's got to be physical and run support. He's got to turn both ways. He's got to dodge traffic, and he has to chase around, in many cases, the opposing team's top receiver, the number one threat. There's a lot. Whereas outside corners, hey, they can press, they can get hands on you, they can, they have the boundary as help. And in most cases, those guys are standing still when the ball snapped. Not always. But the biggest, like the most significant difference is, right, those guys are, in a perfect world, never being asked to fill in the run game and tackle and be physical, set the edge, fill a gap. Those are linebacker duties. Those are safety duties. Those are front seven things. So nickel corners, in a lot of ways, are like tight ends on the offensive side of the football because they have so many different responsibilities, so many different things that they have to consider on any given play. Jourdan Lewis, underrated, underappreciated, most definitely. But 3 years, $30 million. I was kind of surprised to see that he got three more years. But I mean, you can't convince me for a second if you think the Cowboys were even remotely in the ballpark of, what did he get? $20 million guaranteed. So that was tough. So here's the problem. Okay. The Cowboys' biggest hole, I never thought I would say this, on a team that features Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs and Jourdan Lewis, right, who, once again, very underappreciated. Corner, as of today, the most glaring Cowboys roster. And so those of you who are still waiting for me to say something and give you a little bit of hopium as far as spending is concerned in free agency, well, you're in luck, because They didn't give up, or they didn't create $55 million in cap space just for nothing. Okay. Flipping the switches on Dak Prescott, if you were not planning to spend, what they did was literal lunacy. You don't do that. You don't create money and defer to void years and restructure contracts if you're not going to spend that money. It's just senseless. Otherwise, just take the hit now and be done with it. Eat $90 million on the cap this year from one person and be good. Move on. So Joseph gets it. He says, Joseph Chapman, Lando is corner now, first round need. Most certainly is in the equation. If it wasn't already, which it was, top of the list. But so here's the thing, though, right? Just like they did today with Javonte Williams, running back. And by the way, kill them all you want for their order of operations or their aggression or lack thereof. Javonte Williams is a starting caliber running back, a guy that still has plenty of juice. Okay. If the Joneses seriously thought that Zeke had juice left last year, but then I'll tell you, with Javonte Williams, they're in for a treat. I'll tell you that much. I don't see a ton of difference between he and Rico Dowdle, but the market is going to probably reflect to us here pretty shortly in the coming days that Rico Dowdle, a lot of people, myself included, expect him to command much closer to the $5 to $6 million range. So I don't know that I would necessarily say Javonte Williams is night and day better than Rico Dowdle, but what I could say with 100% confidence is that Rico is not twice as good as Javonte as far as the money is concerned. So, it's fine. It is what it is. I co-sign the move. I like it. I think they actually got a good bargain on that deal, right? I said that on Twitter, and it's what the Cowboys do best. So who is surprised? No one. 1 year, $3.5 million deal to now make Deuce Vaughn no longer the starting, if the season were to start today, Deuce Vaughn would have been RB1 for you. It's not the case anymore. Okay, but much like running back. So what this does is it did not remove Ashton Genty from the equation at 12. It most certainly, if that's the case, then we can all use our brains here and say that, okay, running back is still most certainly in the equation after round one. Okay, that wouldn't be shocked if they double dipped at that position either. You could still do that if you want to. Okay, this is just insurance. This is preventing desperation. Again, also wrote about this on CowboysCountry.com. Athlon Sports Land in Holyfield. Just search that up, and you can go find everything I've written in the last 3 weeks. It's all right there. But that's one of the things that we talked about was prevent desperation by doing the exact opposite of what Jerry Jones does, or went on to tell us last week during the combine. The availability. I think he had a discussion with John Machota, if memory serves. So credit to John Machota for the quote, or getting the quote out of Jerry. But Jerry said, something to the tune of, and you guys know what I'm talking about. It was the quote where he mentioned, we don't use free agency to fill voids. I don't see it that way at all, whatever. That's literally what free agency is for. There's no other need for it outside of filling voids. Like it's there for a reason. Okay. Yes. Draft and develop can be your foundation, but you have to supplement your holes. The Cowboys chose not to supplement their holes last year. And so now they have even more, right? So what you do is you go into the draft not desperate at any particular position. Okay. Now, as of today, they are no longer desperate at running back, but they are increasingly or significantly more desperate at corner than they were yesterday. Okay. So I still believe, and so here's kind of, the punchline of, or I guess the second part of the title. Okay. 873 people in here right now and climbing. Still not sure how that tally works. I don't know if that's people that are in here like currently and collectively, or if that's just people that have visited and popped out. I don't know if it keeps tally of the guys and gals who just click on for a second and then hop out. But anyway, the point is do me a favor. All I need is one thing from you. If you're on YouTube and you're not subscribed, then sub for me. If you are already subscribed, all you got to do is like the video. If you're watching this on the Twitter side of things, just share it with one friend. And that's how you help me out. So corner, Dyer will not enter the draft without adding a veteran corner to this roster. Book it right now. Okay. They will not enter the draft without adding a veteran linebacker to this roster. Book it right now. It might be Eric Kendricks again, but even he significantly outplayed his $1.6 million contract. That was the whole point about the second article that I wrote on CowboysCountry.com was about cutting Damone Clark. Okay. Not necessarily his fault. An unusual set of circumstances, a guy that was clearly beloved. In Baton Rouge, wore 18 is a sacred number in that city and for that program. He was the dude, Damone Clark. Spinal fusion surgery. Cowboys took a shot. I mean, we're talking first round pedigree had he not had surgery, right? He found out late into the evaluation process or midway through it, whatever, that he was going to have his spine fused. So to me, though, whether it was that or something else, okay, it just didn't work out. So the Cowboys can cut Damone Clark and save $3.3 million. You could technically have gotten last year 2 Eric Kendrickses for the price of 1 Damone Clark. So just use your imagination there. Jahdae Barron is going to be talked about a lot more as a result of what happened today. I can promise you that. But just like I said, the current state of the cornerback room, which really right now is just DaRon Bland. That's it. Trey Diggs, we need to have an honest discussion about him and some of the things that are surfacing surrounding his, let's just say, commitment to football or to football first, his willingness to tackle. He's a grown man. He's a professional athlete. He's a father. I'm not here trying to jump to conclusions necessarily. I'm just telling you what is being talked about behind closed doors in that building. There are significant questions, which means, once again, so if you already have significant questions about him, even if he was healthy, he's not. I mentioned today, I wrote it, that this might be the most uncertain future of any household name, I guess, or impact player or star, if you will, because, Trayvon Diggs was a star in this league. He hasn't been recently, but he was at one point a star in this league. A guy that took the league by storm. I don't know if I can recall a situation where there was a guy who was once as talented as he is, still young, still in the prime of his career, still under contract for more than just 1 year, but still with such a bleak outlook moving forward. There's smoke there. Okay, so just pay attention to that. That's what I'm saying, and we'll leave it there. Cody Wyatt seems to agree. Once again, trepidation as a tackler. It's very easy for us to sit back and just evaluate effort from our perspective, especially when it's in slow motion. It distorts reality a lot of times. But we don't know what these guys are going through on a day-to-day, right? There's a lot of things that could be ailing them, Zach Martin talked about how it takes him a full week to even think about feeling good again before he's barely ready to give it one more go. I remember Sean Lee was kind of famous for talking about that, how there were weeks when he wouldn't get out of bed until Tuesday. So, it's not an excuse, right? I'm not dismissing the question marks. I'm just saying, right, it's easy to take what someone says and then distort the reality, or I guess oversimplify the totality of the situation. But then there's always, there's also the instance from last year, and I'm going to have to refresh my memory. Maybe somebody can help me out in the chat, but he was responding to tweets either while the game was still going on, or very shortly after, and then he's almost interrogating reporters in a disrespectful manner. Just a lot of different things. But so really, what I wanted to get, I think I've pretty much said everything that needed to be said, right? As far as the Cowboys, what needs to be understood is the Cowboys did not create $55 million of cap space with still potentially 18 more of room to come. We haven't even mentioned Micah Parsons yet. He gets done prior to Wednesday at 4:00 p.m. when the new league year officially begins. Cowboys could create as much as 10, 15, 18 million more dollars by extending him early. They could. Doesn't mean they will. And it doesn't mean that the sky is falling if they don't. But it just means that it's just ammunition for me, for somebody who's been telling y'all that the salary cap doesn't exist, or that at least that cap hell is fake. It's reinforcement to that idea. And the Eagles are living, breathing proof of it. And they're not the only ones. Now, here's one other thing to consider. Okay. Once again, it's still only Monday. Technically, the league says that the rules say that you're not allowed to officially sign anybody until Wednesday. So keep that in mind, first and foremost. But now also consider the Cowboys are now officially one free agent signing, outside free agent signing, short of the number that they had in total last year. They didn't sign anybody on day one. Today's day one. They're at least sticking and moving a little bit. They're at least operating with a different level of urgency, right? I know it don't feel like it right now, but trust me, they cannot enter the season without adding a veteran corner, linebacker, and I think personally another defensive tackle. Last I checked, Jonathan Allen's still out there. Last I checked, Javon Hargrave's still out there. Show me one of those two guys, and we'll go a long way towards at least pacifying me, my level of pissed offness. Better to be pissed off than pissed on, sure. But you feel me? You smell what I'm stepping in there? Will Hernandez, a lot of links to him for obvious reasons. Should hear the way that he talks about Cowboys' new offensive coordinator Clayton. He was his offensive line coach last year. Okay. Once again, Javon Hargrave played for Nick Sorensen last year. Nick Sorensen, the current Cowboys special teams coordinator, was the defensive coordinator of the Niners last year. Okay. There's familiarity there. Connect the dots. It's one of the easiest ways to track or predict what may or may not happen. Once you evaluate what the team has already done, and people are mad at me for saying, applying logic to the situation here. Even when the Cowboys, I get it. At times it feels like there isn't much of that at all to go around. Okay, but the reality is, put this on Do Not Disturb. The reality is they've created $55 million and counting worth of space. So be patient. All right. Once again, I'm going to get out of here for right now. I got a lot more work coming. You guys are going to be seeing it. Obviously, make sure you're following me on Twitter, Instagram, and especially here on YouTube. That's where I want more people to start pushing through. Okay. We're on the verge of, let's see, we're making that push to 4,000. Try to get to 4K, and then we'll continue brick by brick, working our way towards achieving the next milestone. But I also did want to mention too, everything that you guys are seeing me wearing. A lot of people are commenting on the hats, the shirts, the jackets, whatever it is that I'm wearing. It's all from the official partner of Hosland Hack LLC and the Lando Show is Waggle Golf. Get your waggleon.com. I would say that you could get yourself one of these. They're sold out. We're in the process of seeing if we can't get them to do to run that drop back again, because we've had so many people ask. But my friends over there, man, they're making it happen. They're fun people to work with, and they are fantastic clothing manufacturers. It's not just for golf, okay? It's for life, for work, for the gym, for golf too. Get your wagalon.com code Hosel10 will get you 10%. Okay. That's another way to support me. If you feel so inclined. And then there's one more thing. Oh, so on top of that, right, I will be announcing a giveaway soon. I'm not sure how I want to structure it, but Waggle has given us $1,000 to give away this year. And it's technically a little bit more, like all four of us, we each got the same. So I want to do whatever I can to give back. So we're going to start, we'll put together a bundle. I don't know if I want to do 5, 20. I don't know how I want to do it. I may do 5 $200 giveaways. I may do one $1,000 Waggle giveaway. There's a variety of different ways that I could split it up. Okay. We'll figure that out. But y'all just help me get to 4K. Once we get to 4K, I'll announce the first giveaway, and then we'll have some fun. We'll keep growing this thing. But yeah, I think that's all I got. I'm Lando. If we haven't met yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. From the Lando Show, this is Sports Below the Surface. Okay, the truth for the true fan like you that really deserves it. And remember, prayer changes things and the war is already won. Thanks for tapping in. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow night, same time, actually earlier. I didn't get until late. Mondays are always fluid, but Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, until further notice, live stream. Come in and hang out, ask your questions, especially this week. There's going to be lots to touch on. Going to try to convene or to link up once again with my guy Foots, and I'm sure I'll have another couple people on. We're going to start making that more of a priority too. Just because there's so many smart people out there, man. There's a lot of good people in this industry, and it's just fun. It's fun to be a part of. So be on the lookout for when I announce that live. We're going to shoot for about 8 o'clock. Going to go for 1 hour. Same thing on Wednesday. Same thing on Friday. Subject to change, but for right now, be on the lookout for that. Okay. Prayer changes things and the war's already won. Talk to you guys soon.